Hello, I'm Christine. Welcome to Book Talk. Today we are discussing Daughter of Deep Silence by CARRIE Ryan. If you're not aware, Daughter of Deep Silence is a tale of revenge. I flew through this book. I didn't realize how much I wanted to read a revenge story right now. I used to watch Revenge the Show on ABC. I don't know if you've watched that, but I loved it. I loved it. And somewhere along the way, I dropped it because I wanted to binge watch it and it was week to week. You know what happens when you start on Netflix and then you have to watch it live. It's not the same. Anyway, it was like the show Revenge in a YA book. I couldn't stop reading it. And when I say reading, I mean listening to it because I listened to the audiobook and it was fantastic. I just had it on everywhere. Before I knew it, I was done and I was just like, whoa, that was the fastest audiobook I've ever read. The narrator was great. If you don't know, I have an Audible affiliate link in the doobly-doo. If you sign up using my link, you get a free book, which is awesome. This audiobook was fab. I wasn't expecting this to be as addicting as it was. It was just as addicting as the TV show for me. And it just reminded me, I gotta go binge watch some more Revenge. So we follow Frances, this 18-year-old girl. The book has such a great opening scene, and I say opening scene because it feels like the opening scene of a film or a show. It just grabbed me hook, line, and sinker. I was like, whoa, I want to read this. I want to read this now. So our main character, Frances, in the opening scene, she's 14 years old. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but she's been adrift on a life raft for 7 days. So she's so close to death, it's ridiculous. She was on a cruise ship with her family, and that cruise ship was massacred. Her family was murdered before her eyes, and this book chronicles her quest for vengeance against whoever massacred that boat. She doesn't know who it is. We jump ahead 4 years till when she's 18, and that's when her plan is really set into action. She's in this really wealthy setting. It very much reminded me of the show Revenge. If you like Revenge, you'll definitely like this book. If you haven't watched Revenge yet, I think you'll like Revenge, and you'll also like this book. Like, I'm not saying this is the most amazing book I've ever read. I'm not saying Revenge is the most amazing show I've ever read, but they're both so much fun to devour. They're both so addicting that you just blow right through them. I really don't think I can tell you much more without starting to spoil the book. It was such a nice change because I've been reading a lot of contemporary stuff lately and jumping into this world full of shady characters and rage. It was a nice change. It was super fun. Again, I'm just repeating myself. I devoured this book. I really don't have any issues with it. It is a standalone, which is nice. I wish there was a little bit more of an end. If this sounds like something you would enjoy, definitely pick it up, come back, and we can discuss it together. Because I'm about to go into spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you should leave right now. Bye, unspoiler folk. Bye. This is my best on the fake Heir to a Billionaire's Trust Fund look. I got my vengeful lipstick on. This is my fake Libby look. Eh? I can't believe Frances was adrift for 7 effing days. She ended up drinking some seawater. I was just captivated by that idea. She survived 7 days without water, without food, on the ocean. And Libby just didn't make it. It's so sad. And it was such a captivating hook for the story. When we jumped to 4 years later, I was like, whoa! Shit. Was not expecting that. The whole Libby's dad taking her in as Libby was crazy. I got really excited when I saw that's kind of where we were going with that conversation with Libby's dad. Poor Libby. Poor Frances. Frances reminded me so much of Amanda from Revenge. When I heard she got plastic surgery to look more like Libby, I couldn't believe it. Just the idea blew my mind. And it was really sad to see Frances so lost in her own life. I felt really bad about her whole identity crisis thing. I mean, you did bring it upon yourself a little, but it's not like she had much of a choice. Who wouldn't choose what she chose? Would you, as a 14-year-old, decide to go into the foster system? No way. The coldness with which she executed some things, though, did really jar me. When we picked up that she was alluding to poisoning Gray's mom, I was a little taken back because we really didn't know what Senator Wells' role was in the Persephone yet. And when she was contemplating letting her die in the ocean, thank God she saved her, because that would have been a mess. I really enjoyed her relationship with Gray. At the end, when she dug up a Libby, I did not see that coming. I didn't realize that's what she was doing. She had a dead girl in her room on the bed. We didn't know that Libby was in her room until the killer guy stopped dead when they got to her room, and she was like, yep, guess he's looking in my room. When you realize, oh, it's so creepy. That's disgusting. That's effed up. I can't get over how much the Frances Libby Gray thing kept reminding me of Amanda, Jack, and the Grayson's son. I was so surprised when Gray didn't recognize Frances. I mean, they fell in love. I guess they were 14 and people change and stuff. but still, every time we hung out with him, I wanted him to call out like, whoa, you're Francis. And he didn't. He never did. And it was so frustrating. The reader is very much the inner voice of Francis in that situation. I'm really glad the senator ended up going to jail. We really don't know if he actually ended up behind bars for a long time when we end, because it's not really our focal point. We're focusing on Frances and her getting her shit together as a human and letting the anger go. We never really came back to it, but the senator in the car when she left her cell phone in there, it alluded to him beating his son. Then we got Shepard, who knew from the beginning that something was wrong. He loved Libby, he knew Libby. She wasn't gonna be able to convince him that she was frickin' Libby, and when she kept trying to turn the things he said around on him, and when he fed her that milkshake that had stuff she was allergic to in it, I'm really happy she finally opened up to him. I don't know if you guys watch Awkward. I kept picturing Libby and Shepard as Lissa and her adoptive brother from Awkward. Literally, I didn't even realize it until halfway through. I was like, wow, yeah, that's who I'm picturing. I enjoyed the relationship that Frances formed with Shepard. We knew Shepard wasn't a bad guy. I mean, if your family member came back and they were not them, you would be pissed off. It was perfectly acceptable for him to be mad, but I'm so happy that Frances shared her plan with him. She needed a confidant. Shepard turned into Frances's Noah from Revenge. Amanda's friend's name is Noah, right? You need that person. They always think that they can do it all alone. They can do it all themselves. They don't need anybody, but they're wrong. You know, there's gonna come a breaking point where you need somebody. Nothing can ever go exactly according to plan. The police officer Morales, she kept creeping me out. Because she's friends with Shepard, you get good vibes from her. You're like, okay, we should be able to trust her. Shepard's a good guy. But you're still suspicious. You're still kind of rooting against her for a while until the end. I'm trying to pick a favorite scene right now, and I'm just having so much trouble. I just flew through it so quickly. I want to say one of the scenes with Gray. I did really love that struggle that Frances would always have being Libby with Gray and hearing Gray call her Libby and like her. I love that dynamic. I love when she turns on the cell phone and Shepard's there and she goes through the pictures and she finds that video. That was a great scene. I loved all the flashbacks, actually, come to think of it. I really liked the way that Carrie sprinkled them throughout the book and we would learn more and more about that day. Those were all great because you're hungry for that story. You want to know exactly what she went through and you get it in little bites. I really enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you have a favorite scene that you can pinpoint. Thank you for watching. I'm Christine. All my social media links are in the doobly-doo. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!